What's going on, boys? I know I said I was gonna wait. I'm not gonna wait. I can't wait. I wanna drive this thing. This is what I'm talking about. These guys. So these are the yes, the adjustable rear control or rear camber arms. So this is what I will use to make my rear tires go in towards adjust the camber. You guys know what that means. So to install these, really, it's not difficult, right? The idea of it isn't difficult. It really is really self-explanatory. This mounts to the car on the inside, and this attaches to the hub. Really easy. Then this part you can lengthen or shorten to adjust the camber. The hard part is the fact that when you have the rear end installed, you have to drop the rear diff just a little bit. I've read through the forums of the people who have done this, and all of them say the same thing. Where this bushing goes in, obviously the bolt is pretty long. To pull that bolt out, the diff blocks it. So this part right here, getting the bolt out from the stock one and putting the bolt back in through this is the biggest pain in the butt part. The rest of it, very simple. I believe you just have to drop the rear sway bar. Yeah, there really isn't much to it. But I was avoiding doing this because I'm getting my swap done and I'm getting a 6-speed transmission within a month. But I took this for a little bit of a drive yesterday, just around the block, to see if where the suspension is, since I just put these Apex wheels on, if it would rub. And the rears definitely rub, so I need to adjust camber on that for sure. I also need to roll the fenders. I have a fender roller coming in too, but I think the first thing I need to do is get these installed so I can adjust the camber. So, this says it should take 3 hours. I'm gonna do my best to see if I can get it done within 3 hours. Listen to those birds. It's a beautiful day. I really doubt I'll be able to, but let's try it. Let's see what happens. Let's install some rear camber arms. Alright, so here's what we're trying to replace. So this guy right here attaches right here, and then goes all the way back there. Yeah, in theory, it doesn't look bad. Going off of what everyone says on every forum, I think it's gonna be really bad. But let's give it a go. Let's see what happens. Alright, first thing, remove, properly lift to support the car, check. Remove rear sway bar, remove top sway bar nut on upper control arm, remove sway bar brackets, remove entire sway bar. Simple enough. Alright, so what I was doing was loosening up the sway bar, but to get to the sway bar end link is behind there. It goes up and it's really hard. But what I found is there's a little nut that holds the bracket on top of this, which you can just drop the entire unit down. So you'll see once I unscrew this. Step 2. Step 3, partially remove differential. Support differential, remove the front and rear differential bolts. Optional. If you cannot remove bolts with differential in place, it is possible to remove differential with differential adjusted drive shaft. Okay. So, there are 2 rear diff bolts on the top front here, which I know you can't see, but one's over here, one's right here, and then there's one in front right here, which I don't think you can see. But I have the diff supported by the jack. Oh, I hate working like that. Whatever you can use, leverage. use leverage. Oh, wait, still. Okay, diff is unbolted. Oh, baby. Oh, that went somewhere. And that is the issue. Wonder where this went. So that went somewhere up in there. So here's the issue that everyone faces. Bolt, diff. So apparently now that see how this is blocked from coming out, but apparently since I have this diff loosened, I can manipulate it a little bit. And I'll be able to get that bolt out. It says Turner Motorsport. God, all these little ants. You can see where I have the end wrench and the bolt, and it's hitting the diff. Just right there, it's hitting that. So I need to move this. This is the other side. I need to move this back a little bit so I can get that out. That was a big pain in the butt. Both of the inner camber arm bolts are out. Let's take these things out. Oh man, success. There they are. That definitely was a pain in the butt. Now I'm a little worried. I have the hubs like this just because I don't want them, since there's no camber arms, they just go in. The bottom part tilts in and I don't want to ruin the strut in any way. So now it's lunch break and then got to figure out how to get the new ones in. Alright, lunch break over. Now, since we removed everything we have, remove inner, got that, slide, blah, blah, blah. Install camber arms. Make sure the arm is at the shortest length, no thread showing on stud. The stud will be adjusted later when the car is being aligned. Slide camber arms into place in the subframe. Align each bushing with subframe hole. Got the bolts actually back in. It was a pain in the butt, but not as big. So now these go on these are what hold those big bolts in on the inner camber arm. So I have to figure out, they just fell out when I removed the factory camber arm, so I have to figure out which way they go in. All right, so we got both the inner camber arm bolts in. Those are just hanging there. Now I can go back and put the diff back in place. Oh, okay. Oh man. So, diff is installed. Diff is back hung mounted. Diff is back mounted. So now I attach the outer camber, adjustable camber arms to the to the hub itself. Install outer camber arm bolt. At this time the camber should be fully shortened, i.e. no thread showing. Use bolts and hardware provided. Torque to 81 foot-pound. Okay. Alright. Time to reinstall the sway bar since we got all these in there now. Oh, it's a tiring job by yourself. Got it. It's done. Well, all right, so to adjust the rear camber arms, you need either a 23 millimeter or a crescent wrench, and for some reason I can't find my crescent wrench, so I can't shorten and lengthen the rear adjustable camber arms. All right, it's a new day. I needed just a crescent wrench to shorten the camber arms to the shortest width that they go, and I didn't have that. I don't know where it is. I must have lost my other one. But I was gonna call it good since I was pretty much done anyway. But I figured it's not a complete video. If someone wants to install camber arms, they're not gonna know what to do, because this next part is kind of important. All right, so here's how I understand it. The inner bolts that are the ones by the diff, you want to snug those, get them semi-tight, but don't tighten them all the way because there's no load on the suspension. The outer bolts you can tighten all the way. Those are fine to tighten. And then the jam nuts, which are these things right here, those jam nuts, I believe you want to leave those loose too, but you want to get the camber to where you're looking to get it while it's up in the air. Then you want to drop it down, roll the car back and forth to settle the suspension. Then when the car's dropped down, you want to then go under and tighten up those inner camber arm bolts. Apparently that preserves the bushing on the inside there. So it does say too, you may not be able to torque those bolts down while it's on the ground. You may have to tighten it as best you can get it and then lift it back up to torque it, and torque specs are 57 foot-pounds. So let's knock this thing out. All right, so I've got the adjustable camber arms kind of to where I want them. It says to kind of mock them up. It should be roughly, roughly 2 degrees, I think. That each complete 360 turn of the, I can't read it, of the stud will be a difference of approximately 323 degrees. So what I've done is made 6 complete turns on each one. So it should be ish 2 degrees. I mean, I still have to go get it aligned. Now what you have to do is put the wheels on, drop the car down, let the suspension settle. You're supposed to roll it back and forth a couple times. Then you're supposed to tighten the inner camber arm bolts, and then you can jack it back up and torque everything down. Now that it's settled, now I figure out how to crawl under there and tighten the inner camber arm bolts now that it's where it is. So you want to tighten those inner camber rod bolts under pressure or under load. But there's not much room under there. See what we can do. Now that's done, just lowering the car and then going to get it actually aligned. Overall, adjustable rear camber arms. If you're gonna be taking the rear diff out at all, do it then. But if you're not, it's not that big of a deal, but there's a lot, if you had a friend or a helper, it'd be way, way easier. But overall, it's not something you can't get done. Getting the hardest parts was just those inner camber arm bolts right by the diff. And if you drop that and have a pickle fork, then you can definitely get it out and do it. It's definitely a 2-day job or a weekend job, or get someone to help you. But besides that, it's definitely doable. So I'm gonna lower this down. I need to make an appointment to go get it aligned somewhere. My motor actually just arrived to Boost Logic. My Euro headers just arrived. I have the Recaro pole position to go in here, hopefully this week, we'll see. But there's a lot coming, so stay tuned. If you're new to the channel, smash that subscribe button, it would mean a lot to me. Smash the like button. I busted my knuckles trying to get this thing on, so throw me a like, would you? I'll see you guys on the next video, peace.